Now batting for the Reds, number 44, the shortstop, ig&a.
Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Straz.
Welcome to the Red Hot Reds podcast. I am Roger. That is Ricky, and it is Wednesday. It's that time of the week that we have a special guest, a guy joining us, a baseball writer for Fanside, a guy that has his own podcast, Keep It Electric, a radio personality out there, 93.3 KJR, a Mariners fan, unfortunately, but a good sport that still, kept the invite and joined us to talk about his Mariners, talk about baseball. He also writes about the Reds on Blog Red Machine. A Mr. Tremayne person, welcome to the show.
Clap for myself. Thanks, guys.
We really appreciate you still coming on. We know it's a heartbreaker. Monday night, and it was. We were pulling for the. I think you put it in our messages, the Seattle Reds. We were really pulling for the Seattle Reds, trying to get the job done, try to go to the first World Series ever. We'll get into it a lot more, obviously, with this interview. But we do really appreciate your time coming on with us and talking some baseball.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. It's been a crazy 48 hours. And a super busy one, but I definitely, I'm a man of conviction. If I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here. So I'm really excited to be here and happy to meet you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate it too. We start off every interview the same way, asking our guests, what is the first baseball memory you have or your favorite baseball memory?
Yeah, first baseball memory, I honestly don't even know. I think just off the top of my head, thinking about it, is probably somewhere in 1994, 1995, watching TV and seeing Ken Griffey Jr. with a backwards hat in the home run derby. That's the first memory that comes to mind. And that year, I don't know how old I was, and I haven't researched what year that was. I know he won a couple of them, but yeah, those are the first things that come to my mind. And then obviously, getting the opportunity to play Little League. And I think, when I had the opportunity, like when my parents put me in Little League, it was kind of after I discovered it from one of like our neighbors or one of my childhood friends. So he had already gone through T-ball and stuff like that. Yeah. But by the time I started playing, I was too old for T-ball. So I went straight into the pitching machines, and that was the worst learning experience of my life for the first couple of years. But baseball is a humbling sport. I think that's kind of why I still love it, if that makes sense.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, it's definitely a humbling sport because my T-ball experience was that I did somersaults and was doing handstands in the outfield, and my parents did not have me play again after that. So that was the kind of the start and the beginning of it, or end of it all. So, yeah. But anyway, do you have a favorite baseball memory over the times that you've watched the game?
Yeah, I mean, that's actually pretty fresh now. I probably would have had something further back if it wasn't for Cal Raleigh in 2022. At that time I had moved to Seattle from Virginia, and I had bought season tickets that year because I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anyone out here, so I just went to games all the time. But that was the year that the Mariners ended their drought, the playoff drought. So I was at that game where he hit the walk-off home run. I think it was maybe 3 games before the end of the season. Side note, I was on my second date with someone out here, so I took her.
Not bad.
Winning all the way around.
She's hooked. She was like, what is this atmosphere? I'm like, money.
Baseball.
That's what you do. Got lucky with that one.
I was saying, is that like her first game, or was that like just how'd that work out?
That was her first game in years, or at least first games in years that she remembers. I don't think she actually remembers going to any as a kid, but she knows that she went to some. I just don't think she really understood like baseball, the sport. Now, I mean, we're still together now, unless I don't have a sob story for anyone, but we're still together now. That probably from that moment, but she's fully immersed in the sport now, which is awesome. We still go to the games, and now it's not what's going on. It's like, whoa, this team is making some really good contact. How do we get those players on our team? So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, my follow-up was if you're going to be still together, because that would be kind of unfortunate. But it's awesome that she got that experience, because it's not every single baseball game that you have that drought. So she came at the right time to get hooked, and I'm sure a lot of Mariners fans were also born this year as well, with all their ups and downs and taking over the division and getting back in the playoffs as well. So that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, going back to your Griffey, the home run derby, he won in 94, 98, and 99.
Oh, I said 94 first. So I think that's it. I don't know.
So sorry, that was the strike year though, right? So that they had the All-Star game and they had their strike after. Oh man,
this time from mid-year, right? Yeah, because that was the year the Expos were.
Slight tangent, because now that brought it up. Have you seen that doc yet? Because I actually just finished it today. The Who Killed the Expos doc. Okay,
no,
they talk a lot about the strike in that one. Just spoiler alert, because it I guess was a big pivotal thing. So
I mean, that would be a great learning experience for me. I should probably watch, because I've only read about it, and I remember as a kid watching it, but I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. I was 8, so it's probably just kind of over my head anyway. And even after the fact, I still didn't know. So I recommend it at Netflix. Who Killed the Expos? I think is what it's called. So check that out. I think it's worth a watch.
Yeah, so I guess before I get to my question, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about Seattle. I'm originally from the West Coast, like we talked pre-show, but I was growing up. I was a big Seattle music fan, like the Nirvana, the Soundgarden, or Alice in Chains, all them bands. And what's it like there, just in general? Because everyone's like, oh, it just rains all the time. But what's the vibe like going around the city and stuff, especially with how the Mariners are doing, and even the Seahawks in the last few years as well?
I'm afraid to share the best secret about Seattle, because
the coffee.
No, it's definitely. I mean, there's more coffees than gas stations. It's like every corner. Seattle, it's more of a rain season. So it rains. I would probably say probably starting right now, October to maybe late March, and then it's just the sky. I mean, it's just beautiful. I mean, that's why there's also a fire season too, because it does get pretty dry. But for me, it's perfect climate year round, because I like a little bit a eclectic weather. The sun is great when it comes out in June and July. The days get longer, so the sun starts coming up around 5, and it sets around 10:30. Sometimes I think maybe 10:45, maybe the latest, and then it gets to the point where the sun is really annoying and you just want it to go away. It's just really affecting my day. It's dude, I need darkness for longer than 6 hours. So then this time of year, I think the shortest day the sun sets around 4-ish and rises around 9. So it gets so dark and depressing, and I think that's what a lot of people. That's where a lot of people kind of really the seasonal depression is real, because it's dark, it's gloomy. You really need to take vitamin D if you don't want to kind of become sedentary or insider. I'm guilty of that. I ran into that the first year I was here. I moved in right during baseball season, so sunshine, the best days ever. I'm man, I could really get into the Seattle thing. And then baseball ended, and I had no plan. And then next thing you know, I have a couple friends actually moved out here from Richmond. We didn't even talk about it. They were here 2 months before I moved in, and we ran into each other at a game, and then found out that literally 2 miles away from me. So,
wow.
Sorry, I'm getting a little long-winded here, but
No, you're good.
We were hanging out all the time when I first moved in, and then somewhere around December, he's like, "Yo, you don't hang out with us anymore. Are you okay? Like, what's going on?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't really know what's going on." He's like, "Yeah, you need to get out, do something, or you can get trapped." And so it's that part. Like, you definitely kind of have to be aware of it. Obviously, like, people who have lived here forever, like, they're used to it. I met several people, like several like regular Mariners fans that have houses in like Arizona or like some type of like quick getaway to get out of Seattle to kind of reset. I think like if you're like really affected by those changes in the weather, like a backup plan is probably necessary. But like, you really can't beat the summers. It's really like, I think it's one of the best kept secrets, and views everywhere. Like, I get a wonderful view just walking my dog. And then, sorry, last thing is I do have a music background. So moving here, I haven't seen that much live music. I think like COVID probably affected a lot of that stuff. I think we're still kind of, there's still music out there, but it's just not the same. Just like going to restaurants, it's not the same. But the city definitely thrives off of its music. Like, they're definitely like committed to like local concepts, whether it's the music or the restaurant or whatever it is. If it's Seattle made, like the locals 100% back it. And that part's pretty cool, because it's like a big city, but they have a little bit of that small town feeling behind it.
Yeah, because like I just got to witness like the grunge era growing up. So like, I have a picture of like Chris Cornell like right there.
Oh, nice.
And my aunt actually went to go visit Seattle like 2 summers ago. I was like, if you go, could you please get a picture of the statue for me, please? And she did. I was like, that's cool. But
Chris Cornell's an absolute legend. I mean,
he
one
is,
of the best
man.
voices ever to exist. Like,
yeah, he's one of like the greatest of all time, in my opinion. But I guess kind of getting back on track a little bit. You mentioned T-ball a little bit, and do you have any background in sports growing up? Like, did you play any sports like in high school? Did you go to college, play anything, or how did that look when you were growing up?
Yes and no. Like, there's a caveat to it. I played sports. I was pretty good, to be honest. I think I've had a lot of time to reflect on this. So, because I do feel like the game has changed enough where guys like me have a better chance. And I mean, by guys like me, I mean guys who are like 5'9" and 160 pounds. But like when I was coming up, I don't think I weighed more than like 105 pounds by the time I got to high school. So like, I played football in middle school. By the time I got to high school, they're like, you're not playing for us. Actually, the high school I went to, when I got there for my freshman year, I also played trombone. So it was like quick for me to like put down the helmet and play trombone. But I marched next to, in marching band, Dwayne Brown was he was the left tackle for the Seattle Seahawks. And I think he retired after playing for the Jets. But the high school I went to was actually producing like NFL athletes. So like, I didn't stand a chance. So, and then by the time I wanted to cross over into baseball, I was way too late. Like, I didn't understand that, the pipeline starts younger than high school, So even when I talked to the baseball coach, I was like, I want to come out. He's like, you're wasting your time. You're not making my team. Like, it's just flat out like, so, and yeah, that's part of that's on me. I think that part of that's on like just ignorance as a child. You don't, if you don't really pick a direction, sometimes it just doesn't really work out for you. And I'm not saying that it would have worked out for me if I tried to. I just really wish I would have tried. So in Little League, I was, fast guy. I didn't have a ton of power. I was probably like, what's the guy's name? Little guy for the White Sox back in the day. What's it like? Pierre something? What was his name? I can't think of his name.
Juan Pierre?
Maybe Juan Pierre.
Former Marlin?
Yeah, he had like no power at all. Like, the guy couldn't, like, the ball wasn't carrying to first base half the time.
Yeah,
that was me. Like,
okay.
So I was getting on my bunting. But I was super fast. So what I ended up doing finally, like in high school, I ended up being I started running track. So I ran states, and that was great. And then I did not want to leave home. And like if I were to leave home to go to school, I wanted to, I was a dreamer. I wanted to go to I wanted to go to Northwestern in Chicago. I wanted to go to Northwestern. I wanted to go to or be a Hurricane. And if I couldn't do that, I wasn't leaving Richmond. So I went to community college. so I went to community college, majored in music education, decided I didn't want to be a music teacher, and then just started writing my own story on the fly. So to answer your question, friends call me a world-class athlete, and that's all I ever was. A world-class athlete with no direction.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. That kind of answers our. Go ahead, Rick. You had some.
No, I was going to say that kind of it makes sense, like for your passion for sports when you write. So it worked out in the long run, and in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. I my girlfriend reminds me every day. It's like dream job. Like if I find a way to be immersed in sports and have it starting to really affect my bottom line in a positive way, that's a great thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and you had already kind of answered a couple of our questions with your passion for music. Like, how did that start? Was it from a young age, or something you got into later in life?
Yeah, I think it's always been a part of my life. My dad was kind of like the leader of it, if that makes sense. Like he, when he grew up, he couldn't afford an instrument, but he always wanted an instrument. So what he ended up doing was putting an instrument in his kids' hands. So my sister played the flute, my brother played the baritone, and I picked trombone. But I was the one that really stuck to it, if that makes sense. Not saying that they didn't.
Right.
I remember hearing them practice. If they're watching, they weren't as good as me ever. But it's I stuck with it, and I also he was a singer and an actor as well, so he was pretty popular in the local scene. He would host his own plays, so around the house he had plaques, or posters of his work, in character. So it's always been kind of there. So I think I just naturally fell into it. When it started right when I left school the first time. I left school because I saw how much music teacher's salary was, and I was like, I can go bartend and make more than this. So I'm gonna. Times have changed now, which is great. I'm really happy about that. But I was just like, this isn't gonna work. So I started writing, lyrics for a rock band, and started singing. So the writing aspect has kind of always been there. And it started with creative writing, which makes writing about facts and then coming up with opinionated content just so much easier because it kind of has always been there. It's just a playground in baseball. Did that answer your question? I think it did.
I think so. Yeah. You wrote for a rock band. Are you still doing that, or was that something you did for a little bit?
As of 2 weeks ago, we are firing it back up. The last thing that I did was I think 2019. And that was it's called Tiger Shark, but it was a project that started from another band that had just previously dissolved. So I wrote for 3 bands. I can't even, if you had a minute, I could sit here and try to count how many albums I've written, but it's a lot. But now it's kind of the light bulb kind of went off. I moved here. They still live in Richmond, or that surrounding area. And I'm like, guys, I have everything I need to record vocals. I got, got professional mic. I got equipment. What's really keeping us from still writing? Just because we're not within proximity, we can still write. So we actually just kicked it back up. We're listening to songs and writing again. And we don't have anything to prove to anyone but ourselves, but we're doing it. Yeah.
You said it was Tiger Shark was the band.
Yeah.
And you don't just write for them. You're also in the band. You say, right?
I'm the lead vocalist for the band. Yes.
All right. That's all. in the research didn't come up. That's awesome.
That's because why would it? I don't think we really advertised it. I think it's on Apple Music. I think you can still find it on Apple Music or Spotify. But yeah, it's not like we weren't like social media. We actually hate social media. So
okay.
Like so rock and roll.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We make the greatest music and wish you luck on trying to find us. Like,
underground,
right?
No, I'll be listening post show.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. A little tangent for me is that's how I first started writing. Was I thought was poetry, and then I was like, wait a minute, this kind of looks like lyrics, and then grab a guitar, just kind of strum. I was like, hey, this kind of works. I never did anything with it, but
do you sing at all, or you sing at home?
My wife likes to hear it, but I don't really care for it. I think I'm okay. I don't strut, I don't think I'm no Chris Cornell, But
we all wish we could be.
Yeah.
Here's the reason why I don't market my music.
Yeah, same. And then that turned into like what you said, kind of creative content, writing articles and stuff.
Yeah, you're the writer, or you?
Yeah, I write for Cincinnati Reds Talk on SI.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah. I pretend to write on Substack.
Your writing is what got me into like wanting to write on the internet. So give yourself some credit. But,
Ricky's the more successful one, is what I'm trying to say.
I wouldn't say that. I'm just more public. Speaking of writing, you said you recently got into Substack, and it's not just sports stuff. You write some like sci-fi stuff as well.
Yeah, that's a new adventure as well, and I'm really enjoying it. I think what sparked it was sometimes baseball stories kind of write themselves. I'm just distributing it, So after having some fun on or having some freedom on some pieces, but still having to kind of be in the pocket, I just kind of had this itch to like take the writing further, and that's like, and it's also a mix of watching really bad sci-fi. Like that's what also motivated me. It's not like me saying like I can write it better, but at least I should try. So I started putting a book together, or novel together. Like, what are we in? We're in October. I started this back in like maybe June, and really just started kind of creating a universe, which has spiraled into several different like planets. I don't want to give it all away, but I think the first thing is like I'm taking like this sci-fi journey and almost applying the same journey that I had with writing sports. It's like increasing your byline, getting your name out there. So like fully committed to this book. Most of it's actually already written. I'm just like pasting the chapters each week in Substack. But basically it's like once this book is out, like I'm starting the follow-up book, like I don't expect someone to just like find this book, just, maybe some people find it randomly, but I do think like the more I increase that output, like people could discover, maybe the third book and trace it back, but and that's just like, again, that's just one of those commitments to myself. I'm going to keep writing, and the first book might be crap, and the second book could be where it all really comes together. I don't know, but I'm really enjoying this story, and getting that creative content out.
Yeah. So do you have any desire to maybe get like those things published at all? Like as like a book, like something you could buy on Amazon or something?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what the plan has evolved into. And I try not to like set those standards because I'm really enjoying it, right? And I think it's good. It could not be, but but I think like as confident as I've like become in writing it, somebody might enjoy it, and at least I wouldn't know without giving access to it. So the publishing route is really weird. I definitely like think I'm going to go with the self-publishing route. I don't think I want to do a book deal. I don't want to commit to anything like that. So I think, I've already like found an artist, to actually like do the book covers and stuff like that. And I'll have my own prints. I'll distribute them however I feel or however the internet tells me to do it. I don't know. Still like a lot of learning to it. But definitely the plan is definitely for it to be published. Like those chapters, I think I saw you guys like subscribe to it. Those chapters, they do actually have like a Substack. What's Roger?
Yeah.
Substack. So those chapters do have like a lock or whatever on it. Like after a certain time, you do have to pay for the content, which might be a rude thing to do, but also like, I don't know, man. Like,
if it's good enough, people are going to buy it to find out what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the goal, man. That's how you sustain it.
Yeah. So they're free for now. So
get them while you can, right?
Yeah.
Get it while it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And another aspect of yourself is that you also appear on the radio doing baseball segments for 93.3 KJR. How'd that gig come about?
You guys are kind of giving me anxiety because I didn't know I was doing so much.
You do more than me. That's all I know.
Yeah, that was that's pretty cool. I actually have a lot to say about that too, because that's an interesting journey. I was reached out to by I guess he's sorry if I'm messing up the names. It was Roger and Ricky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. The guy who reached out to me, I guess, was the Ricky of this podcast. So his name is Christopher, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to be on Mark James Radio tomorrow morning at 12 o'clock?" And I was like, first of all, who is Chris? And second of all, people hate Mark James. Like, why would I want to do that? Like, and there's a backstory with Mark James. I don't know if you guys heard of this guy or know who he is, but we talked about like the Northeastern Boston, that New England range of rough. He brought that personality and just like dropped it in Seattle and just started like dropping he went nuclear on Seattle's commentary booth and started making fun of Ryan Rowland Smith. He's like the Australian commentator, started making fun of his accent. And everyone was like, hold on, first of all, you don't know Seattle at all. Like, we have allegiance to our local people. You do not come in here from Boston and just start running your mouth. And they like, it got bad, dude. Like they looked him up. They found some like controversial history from him. I mean, it was years ago.
Okay.
And I'm just like, why would I want to go in this show? First of all. Second of all, why do you have my phone number? Like
how'd that happen?
This is all types of weird. And I asked him, I was like, hey, Chris, how did you get this number? And I'm so sorry if they actually end up saying this, but they have to know that this was a mess, because what Chris ended up doing was, I think he was trying to text Mark, but he texted me by accident saying, maybe you should have been the one to text him since you have his number. And I'm like, am I getting scammed?
Yeah, this is weird, man.
Finally, like, Chris and I connect on Twitter, and I'm like, please tell me that you're the dude who's like reaching out. And like, full disclosure, like, I mean, we're not blind. I am Black and Chris is Black, and we will support each other. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, all right, Chris, what is this about? You know what I mean? Like, do you want me on this show? And, is this legit? And he's like, yes, like, come on, let's do it. So I get on, I talk to Mark. Mark is a sports personality. He's fine. But over the time, this was probably back around maybe the same time that I was starting to write the book thing. This is back in maybe June, maybe even a little earlier than that. I think Mark, over this time that him and I've been working together like weekly, he has like kind of switched his energy. He's learned so much more about the city. He's been extremely apologetic about his past. He has really warmed up to the Seattle community. And also he has a niche where he's not going to feed corporate jargon or, find the silver linings in every single outcome. And that's what he liked about my writing, was just like, I didn't pull punches with my writing. If someone needs to be held accountable, I'll hold them accountable. And that is kind of what created the relationship. I thought it was just going to be a one-off, and now I'm on, every random days. It's usually Tuesday, but sometimes it's Monday, sometimes it's Wednesday. I get pushed around because sometimes I get bumped for Mike Cameron, and if I get bumped for Mike Cameron, I'm not arguing with anyone because I'm not.
I mean,
you know what I mean? So like,
it's kind of
like,
cool.
yeah. He'll text me and be like, I think my very first episode, I was following Jeremy Piven, and I'm like, why in the world am I on the show with Jeremy Piven?
That's random too. That's crazy.
Yeah, they have some really. I think Gary Sheffield was on there like last week. Jeez. So I'm like, these are some really cool names to kind of be mixed around in. Mm-hmm. And I've only been writing baseball stories for 2025 season. So I do think that's a pretty great footprint to establish, this early, because I don't plan on going anywhere, but, this early in my journey.
Yeah, I mean, it's only up from here. For context for Cincinnati listeners, that'd be like Roger going on the radio followed by T. Higgins. And then the next person after him is like Ellie De La Cruz.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely some legends.
Yeah. Mike Cameron, Cincinnati Red legend, one season.
Yeah.
So shout out to him. Yeah. But yeah, that's awesome. It's kind of interesting how the Boston guy is starting to shed his Boston, toxicity, I guess you'd say, because that market, man, gosh, that's gotta just wear on you if you're like day in, day out doing radio. And we've got some interesting personalities here in Cincinnati that it can be borderline. I mean, mostly it's sports writers that we have that can be a bit contentious in terms of how they view the Redlegs in particular and or the Bengals in certain contexts. So,
one in particular is a Cubs fan who has a Cubs podcast that writes for the Reds.
Yeah. So
does that exist? There's someone doing it?
Yeah.
He works for the local paper, the Cincinnati Enquirer. So like he's kind of a bit of a clickbaity type of guy as well. He what was it? A couple months ago, Ricky, he wrote the Hunter Green should be traded right as he was coming back from getting healed. So
you get people like that, and sometimes it's kind of I'm trying to be as polite as possible, but sometimes it's kind of like you really need to kind of dive deeper into the research, or at least have an understanding of what someone means to a franchise before you just like say it. Like we'll get into this, but because I think I saw it might involve one of the questions, but I do edit for Fansided as well. And like when I first got that privilege, the very first article I edited was someone this year saying that Jackson Merrill needs to be sent back down to the minors. And I was like, do you know who Jackson Merrill is, by the way? And also, do you know how much money they just paid him?
Yeah, they just
like what are you talking about? Like,
there were people that said Ellie should go down to the minors last year.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. Everyone's got an opinion. Doesn't make you right, though.
Yeah.
That's why I like to frame it.
You're all entitled to your opinion. It's part about what makes America awesome.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make you more intelligent. It's because you have a bigger voice either.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about a little bit about your podcast, Keep It Electric. Talk a little bit about that. Like, how'd you come up with that? What all do you talk about on there? And what else, what's your vibe like with it?
Yeah, I mean, actually, out of all the things that you listed, I do, that's like the one thing that's taken a back seat. And it's for a good reason. That was, I think that started in 2023. I started that podcast. I used the same, I can't even think of the name of it because I'm so sleep deprived. The preamp system. Like I use the same one that I do now, but then I was still using my live performance microphone. Like I have like a Electro Voice microphone. So like I just had like this random microphone and just like picked it up and started doing it. That was like the quickest way I could get my voice out to baseball. And it was just like a project really. The Keep Electric name, which honestly I think Seattle may have abandoned like the Electric Factory this season, but like that name came from a former Red, Jesse Winker. When he came to Seattle, I think it's like his first ever interview, like after he walked out on the field, and he's like, this place is an electric factory. And we started plastering electric factory all over the stadium. And it stayed even after he left. But I think I'm trying to think about it. I think those signs are officially down. And I'm not giving up on the name because of that.
That's nice.
And
Yeah,
Jesse Winker is such a character. Like that guy is. I have such a love-hate relationship with him because, he was the guy. In that trade, like Suarez was kind of like, hey, can you guys take this money from us? But Winker was supposed to be the big deal. And then, not to be rude, but like I had a lot of access when I first came here. So I, the season ticket holder, like he would give me access to like batting practice. And Jesse Winker was like the one dude who never picked up a bat. He just walked around with his shoes hanging off of his neck with his sunglasses on, just like smiling at people, never really doing anything. So like when he had a horrible season and started, fighting people, and then I think he went to Milwaukee and he was out of shape. Like, I'm sorry, I'm spiraling on Jesse Winker. My bad. Anyways, the podcast was influenced off of that. But as it started to gain some traction, which was great. Also, as you guys know, like recording, mixing, coming up with your own content, editing, social media, that was just so much for me, while also like the writing was really taking off. So it got to like a crossroads. It's like, okay, I need to pick one or the other right now until I can find some balance with the schedule. But the balance with the schedule with the writing has not slowed down. I just keep being given more to do and more teams to cover, which is great. But eventually the podcast will return. And when it does, I don't know exactly what it's going to be. Like, it was supposed to be a Mariners podcast. And right now the idea is to continue it as a Mariner podcast. But I also have a heavy focus on the San Diego Padres because that's like my current job right now. So like I am like a heavy voice on Soto Mojo, but I actually am the lead writer for Friars on Base for the Padres alongside with this guy named PJ. So that's like the main priority. So if I'm gonna blend those, maybe go across the other 10 teams that I cover and touch on. I don't know what's gonna happen, but also there's a process that's happening at the end of the season that is a little tight-lipped, but like it could also be distributed differently within the network that I'm in. Like that's an actual possibility, and it's really more on like if I want to commit to it or not. So I don't know how, like what's going to happen of it, but I definitely think at some point it's going to return before the beginning of 2026. So that's just where it's at right now. Does that answer your question? It's TBD. I could have just said it's TBD.
It's up in the air.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I kind of do is like we'll have talking points on here, and then when it's uploaded or I go back and listen to it again, I'm like, oh, I could write about that, and then I'll write about what we talked about. I'm like, oh, it's kind of helps.
Yeah, and I think what was happening for me is the reverse. I think I was writing so much content, and then I needed to record, and the next thing I know, I realized I was recording what I had already published. So like some people were messaging me like, oh yeah, I read your article about this.
I read what I saw.
Yeah, I read what I saw that came out a week later, and I was like, I got to get this under wrap. Like this is a mess.
All right. So speaking of your writing, I came across your piece about Jonathan India potentially getting non-tendered from Kansas City, and it was kind of tied into obviously. We traded Jonathan India for Brady Singer in the offseason going into this year, and it was kind of a big deal and a bit controversial here in Cincinnati. But they've been trying to trade India for years, to be honest with you.
the Mariners were part of that.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess first is like how did you get wind of this possibility, and do you really think this could happen to the India get non-tendered?
Yeah, I mean, at first I do think it is a possibility, but I also have to give credit to the lead writer for Blog Red Machine. That was his name is Drew. I actually have never heard him pronounce his last name, so I'm not even going to try. But he runs the Blog Red Machine page. Yeah. And he'll feed out some topics. So that just happens to be one that he fed to me, and I did a little bit of research. And when it comes down to like, I think it's really more about the performance equaling like the dollar amount. And I think we've seen a lot of that actually play out this season. I think the Rangers were a big part of that when they let go of like Leo Tavares, and the Reds did that with Candelario earlier, right? At some point this year. So, I mean, the Royals have a lot to fix. And I actually covered Kings of Kaufman earlier this year. I don't want to say, okay, I'll just say it. The Royals, like, outside of Bobby Witt Jr. and like Salvador Perez, is like the most boring team I've ever covered in my entire life. Like it's not. That's a personal thing for me. Okay. Like it's not that the team is actually boring or the guys are boring. I think for me it was just really hard to find a relatable point or something to really like get super passionate behind. I think there's always some player that I get super hyped on or that I get like super motivated with. And like with the Royals, it was Tyler Tobert, who he's kind of a fringe quad A guy between AAA and the major league roster. Mm-hmm. Super, super hype on him. But what was really annoying with the Royals was that they continued to keep talent on their team that they didn't need. And they had better talent in the minor leagues. And then they were also unwilling to spend money, which all that to me adds up to like, why are you going to keep Jonathan India around for an entire 2026 season if he continues to perform like he did in 2025, knowing the Royals do want to improve their roster, knowing that they're hinting at spending a little bit more money. They're not going to go all in my opinion, on spending more money without, dumping some salary. And his defense has also lacked. He's not the same defender he once was. So like if you're not executing on both sides of the ball, like it's kind of like why did the Mariners keep Jesse Winker around? You're producing like a negative WAR and you're contributing to the team losing games. Like if the team is actually performing worse while you're on the field and you're not hitting, that's a problem. So long story short, the Royals kept Kevin Biggio around for way too long. So like maybe Jonathan India will stick it out.
Possibly. I don't know. Yeah. He stuck around for the Reds a couple seasons too long, possibly.
But I mean, I felt like they were looking around. They were kind of hoping for a bounce back or at least a repeat of that rookie year. He came out like, was he a runner up to Julio in 2021, I believe? But he
won the Rookie of the Year, I think.
He did.
Yeah. So like he was the next guy.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Guy to be the Reds after like Votto is kind of on his down side of his career, or whatever. But anyway, yeah, it was just I think a Matt McClain injury in the spring training. Ricky, I think was in 2024.
Yeah,
he was supposed to be the second baseman of the future. So then they were just like, I guess we got to keep India around. So it was kind of.
Yeah, sorry if I'm. I don't know your market very well, so I don't know if people are passionate about Jonathan India or not. Like I thought it was
very divisive.
I thought the trade made sense. Like in my opinion, I thought he needed a fresh start somewhere, and actually, like in spring training, it seemed like he was really going to catch on.
Yeah,
but Brady Singer ended up working out for you guys, So like, at least for a strong like middle to back end guy,
Yeah, he led the team in innings pitched. So.
Yeah, I didn't know Andrew Abbott was going to come out the way he did.
I don't think there was people that were wanting him traded in the spring training. So, a little basic gestalt on Jonathan India. Reds fans, he's like split right down the middle. People either absolutely love him or they absolutely hated him because
I
you
remember
can't. Why are we DHing this guy? He's not hitting. But it's
that. The managers do
he's
that too.
very divisive.
I mean, I think I don't know. I didn't have a front row seat to this, but I can imagine that conversation didn't really die down too much considering the year that Matt McClain had this past season.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, he was still like the glove was solid, but the slash line was pretty rough. Like, he was definitely pretty hit or miss. And then they tried to hide him around the lineup a little bit. And that didn't really seem to work out either. I'm a big Matt McClain guy. I like the guy a lot. I've been rooting for him all year. We'll see what happens there though, you know?
Yeah. Colleague of mine just put out an article on him today. Basically, Francona and Nick Kroll, the president of baseball operations, are sticking behind him for next year. Because I mean, his offense was terrible, which is kind of expected given the shoulder injury and coming back from that surgery. Because I think that was the same surgery that Joey Votto had, to where it's like basically it's like complete reconstructive surgery, and it takes a long time to get that back. And he was still like, I think 10th in baseball defensively. I think he had like, I think it was so many defensive runs. I forget the number it was, but his outs above average was like 10th in baseball. So he's a really good defender. He's still only 26. So I mean, he's got a future ahead of him. And there's not really a guy behind him yet in the farm system, but we really dive into the farm system here with the Reds, and there's nobody here yet. I think within 2 years there will be, but we'll see what happens with that.
I mean, your infield pipeline is ridiculous, but
it's crazy.
I definitely agree that I think it would be crazy to shift to one of those guys in 2026. And surprisingly, like Matt McClain, he still had like the power stroke is still like, it's kind of surprising he's able to at least. What did he hit 20 home runs this year?
I think he had 15.
Yeah,
okay, but still, like, didn't you guys are the experts with the Reds, so I could be wrong, but isn't Cam Collier coming from something similar, or like he's coming from some injury?
He had a thumb surgery.
Yeah,
okay. But he couldn't generate. He was having some issues with his power.
He had 4 home runs this past season, and then he just crushed one the other day.
Nice.
Yeah,
but yeah, I do know it's like when you're coming from those upper body issues, it's generating the same power is always a problem. So like, at least he had something show up, this season.
Yeah, it's like when he made contact, it was usually hard.
Yeah,
and it just sometimes found the seats. Kind of talking about you a little bit, I guess, and me. I write, Sports Illustrated, Cincinnati Reds Talk. I generally cover the minor leagues on there. Every once in a while, I'll poke around and find something on the major league team to write about. But I have a decent workload with the podcast and writing and work and family. I got 2 kids, and they're both 8 and 4, so it's crazy.
Yeah,
and sports and everything else, music, school. Where do you find time to do anything with all your ventures? You said you're in a budding relationship. How's that going? How's life outside of trying to navigate around all of your craziness?
Pure chaos. I have a general like morning routine, and like this isn't me just like I'm not giving like random flowers just to give random flowers. Like I am really, really grateful of my girlfriend. Like she definitely like she really shows up for me in the morning because like I'm a grumpy dude when I wake up. And
Same.
Like this sounds so stupid and so like male energy. Grumpy and I need sustenance. You know what I mean? Like that sounds so stupid. But like my brain doesn't work until I have some type of caffeine. So like generally she handles like breakfast, I handle like lunch, and then like we'll like tag team dinner or something. She works hybrid, so she's here 2 days a week and then she's out 2 days a week. So I try to reserve like 7 a.m. to like maybe 2 p.m. every day just for writing and finding stories. Luckily, like the Fansided network, Fanside is just a huge conglomerate, but like the network that I'm in is pretty tight. So like it's a mix of like contractors and staff writers. We're all kind of like helping each other find work. So sometimes I actually kind of already have some of my work kind of like maybe pushed towards me, or like, I'm kind of scouring for like Padre stuff mainly, and maybe some like Mariner stuff, but like there's some other help around to help, shuffle some topics around. But at this point, like I do have to survey 11 different teams every morning and find out like who needs what as fast as possible. And sometimes it gets a little fast paced. And then like I have to remember that like I have to make sure that this Padres site is also operating correctly. And then as unstructured as that chaos is, when my brain is like, when I'm like just fried and I can't, like if eating lunch isn't going to help me and I cannot think of a single word, I just play MLB The Show.
Always helps.
Yeah, they'll calm me down for about an hour, and then I'll jump back in.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, but like I'm still kind of learning how to structure it. So like what it looks like right now is I'm heavy into Padres content on like Monday, Tuesday. Padres and Mariners like Monday, Tuesday radio, and then I start kind of driving the content for those other teams. And luckily, those other teams have site experts who have the same responsibility as me, so they can be the main voice on those pages with me splashed in between. But I will say right now, today is the 22nd, and I have a spreadsheet of articles. Today's the 22nd, and I'm at 118 articles for the month, so it is a lot. It's about 7 to 8 a day,
right.
And it's just
okay.
Grip it and rip it. Grip it and rip it. That's it. Like it's just all gas. And then I'll spend the afternoon, working on sci-fi stuff. And then it's dinner. My eyes are barely open right now because I was editing late last night. And I felt like I think I was editing in my sleep, to be honest. So like today has been rough. But and days like that happen, like that's. But if I'm fully immersed in this business like this, it's actually like way easier than the previous industry I was in. Like I was a data engineer for 2 years, and so I'm pretty versed in tech and how things burn down, and I will trade this any day of the week for that. Like I would want to do this, than that. Like you make a lot more money doing that. It's also extremely stressful. I definitely did not have, I lost all of my personality. Like I'm glad I met my girlfriend while I wasn't doing that, because I went on dates while I was doing that, and literally like I'll never forget. So this one girl was like, everything that you say is serious. Like, I don't think, like, she basically said I had no sense of humor. And then I bombed because I tried to say something funny. And she's like, if you have to try, I think you really need to be looking at yourself, man.
Oh no.
I was like, we're not going out again. Like,
that kind of leads me into a follow-up. So like, what do you do like outside, like nightlife? Do you go to like concerts, comedy shows, stuff like that, or movies?
Oh man, we do like movies. We like it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of ties into your whole thing about like Seattle and like the grunge thing. Like I feel like when we go out, we like to go to like, I don't know, not like the hip spots. We like to go into the spots that are kind of like tucked in.
You gotta go find it.
Yeah. So we don't go to like Regal cinemas. We go to like the local cinema that is playing two movies, where they have Skittles with lime in it. And and then like the cool thing with Seattle, and this is something I really had to learn, because like in Richmond, it's like when you leave the house planning to spend money, but there's like a park and a viewpoint everywhere out here. So like, we can just walk, up the hill to, tourist viewpoints on a quiet day where we know, it's not going to be busy, and sit there for a while, there's plenty of places. Like the parks are super small. It's not like Texas, but there's, places where, you can grab and go somewhere and drive, a block into some park and sit there. And then I go to a bunch of baseball games. Like,
Yeah.
Like the ballpark is basically like my living room. I live maybe like 3 miles from T-Mobile Park.
Oh man,
Oh,
that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's usually enough going out for me.
Right there.
Yeah, and then like we negotiate the other things,
Fair. Well, yeah, speaking of the Mariners, and I know it's only been 48 hours, and I don't know if you've done a lot of reflection on the 2025 season in general about the Mariners, but like how did the season go for you?
Heartbroken Tremayne is aligned with Cal Raleigh when he said it's a failure. That's the heartbroken Tremayne, but it's like there's two things. It's like being out here and immersed in Seattle with it, like you feel it a lot more. I would probably still be feeling it if I still live in Virginia. Like I love the Mariners from afar, but being in it like this, like being like within proximity, you can really feel like you can feel the emotions or the vibes around the city. And like when I first moved here and the Mariners made the playoffs in 2022, there was some weird like study that was out that was like, I think in 2021 they said Seattle's like the most depressed city. And then in 2022 it was like Seattle is like the least depressed city. And when it came out, it was right when the Mariners were just like popping off. But there really is a difference. Like I think like from a sports perspective, you give up on the Mariners early and you just can't wait for football. But when the Mariners are actually like, when playoff baseball is a possibility and it bleeds into football, it is just alive. It's really, really cool. So I just don't want it to be another 24 years.
Okay.
Like that's where I'm at. I'm like, I hope I'm alive for this next run, because there's a real possibility that the Mariners may never go to a World Series in my lifetime. And I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying the possibility is real. And at the same time, I think that's just like the beauty of baseball, is because there's no like, the parity isn't built in like the NFL or NBA. Like everyone's always going to come around, but like with baseball, you have to be really intentional about it. So like, I really hope this is like a learning lesson for, front office and ownership on like what's possible. I'm not going to be a jerk about it and be like, I hope this wasn't a money grab, because I know damn well your revenue says that this paid off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so those are just like my fears, and my takeaways from it. But at the same time, I really, really appreciate being able to experience late October baseball in Seattle. That's something many of us Mariners fans can't say we know a lot about. So.
Yeah, you can see above your head. We have the banners on our thing here, and the last one's 1990. I was born in 1992, so I have I've never seen it. I've only seen 5 playoff appearances.
Yeah.
95, technically 99 with the 163.
I guess
I guess you play in game, I guess.
Yeah.
And then 2010, 2012, 2014. I guess you can count 2020 if you want.
2013 had the wild card game.
That's right. Yep. It's 2013, yeah. And then just past season here.
Tough draw this past season.
Yeah.
A bummer.
Yeah.
But also like thankfully the Mets tricked it and said, "Hey, you
Came
guys go
down to
ahead.
those
You guys go
pesky
for
Marlins, man.
it." Yeah.
Always about the Marlins. They're always helping us out.
The Mets saw the Dodgers, and they're just like, "We're good."
That might have been the play.
Yeah.
they're like, we're gonna be 84 win team. Nah,
And we can upgrade the stadium. Let's just shut it down. You know.
For sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess kind of going back to Cal Raleigh, do you think he wins MVP this year?
I really want to say I'm not biased, but I can't answer this question without being biased. But yeah, absolutely.
He's a catcher that hit 60 home runs.
I think it's a valid argument. I think it's a very valid argument. I think most people that don't agree with me are people on the East Coast. And
he's a switch hitter, right?
yeah, he's a switch hitting catcher.
He's a switch hitting catcher that hit 60 plus home runs. I mean, forget that he hit 240 something.
Yeah,
he drove in 100 plus runs,
125 runs,
60 plus home runs.
Yeah,
I mean, you give it to him, and he's a elite defender.
Yeah,
not giving credit for this year for not being on the Gold Glove list for whatever reason. But
how does that happen?
I put out an article about that. It wasn't a Mariners article. It was a Padres article. But like, I do think there's a little bit of a spread the love factor with things like that. Like, I'm not saying related but unrelated. But like, the argument was like Fernando Tatis was snubbed from the Silver Slugger list. But you look at the stats and it's like snub, like it might be a stretch, but at the same time, it's like, how can you get nominated for the Hank Aaron Award and then not get nominated for a Silver Slugger? Like, to me, that's a little strange.
Yeah.
You know?
That's kind of how we feel about Spencer Steer at first base. Like, if you look at, I'm not the biggest, like, advanced analytics knowledgeable person, I guess. But, like, you look at just, like, the basic, like, outs above average, it was, like, +6. But he's also the worst scooper at first base. So, like, how does that even add up?
I felt similar with I think it was like Ty France in 2021
Former
or
Red
2022. I think so. Like, the guy is. Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, that's true.
A cup of tea at the end of 2020.
Legend,
another Seattle Red.
Yeah.
That guy. I mean, he couldn't stretch worth a damn. He didn't look great at first base, but he was clean. And I mean, his numbers were like right up there with. I don't remember who. I don't remember if Vladdy got it here, or I don't remember who the first baseman was. Oh no, I'm thinking about the All-Star game. I don't know who the first baseman was who got it, but I was a center making the case for like, I don't see how this guy. I think he had committed like one error that entire year. How this guy didn't get it, but sometimes if it's not sexy, you know, they're not really looking at you, you know.
Yeah, but what happened with Cal though? Like, how did he go from being like a platinum glove guy to not being on the list?
I don't even think he had a pass ball this year.
His first pass ball was in the playoffs.
It's insane. I really don't understand it. And then they gave the rookie, was it Dylan Dingler? Or something, like this. I was like, none of this makes sense. Like, I don't even know if that guy was even a catcher at the beginning of the year. But he's on the list and Kyle Riley's not on the list. And so, yeah, back to that. Like, I think like that snub is probably because people think he's going to get the MVP.
But that just takes away from like the legendariness of his season, because like he has an elite defensive season as well. He earned it.
He's got value at hitting and defense. That's two parts of the game that are like really important.
And at that position is the most important.
Does he need to pitch like Ohtani? Like, what is this? I feel like we're getting in the rant range.
No, you're right though. Like, because I mean, like to me, Aaron Judge should be the hands down Hank Aaron Award winner, like the best offensive player. And it is also kind of funny too, because like Aaron Judge did what he always does. So it's like, yeah, he had a remarkable year, but like, doesn't he like pretty much always, if he's healthy for the 162, like he can do this again next year. We don't know if Cal Riley's going to hit 60 home runs next year, to be honest. Like, we don't know.
I mean, it's like, how do you define value? Because Aaron Judge on that team, you know, he wasn't the only player on that team. I mean, yeah, he basically carried the team, but they have, you know, other players you can kind of make an argument, like they're really good players.
Yeah.
Like Seattle, they have really good players, but at the catching position to do what he did, that's valuable Because
mean,
if you take Cal Raleigh off that team, like,
no.
I mean, do they really like? What's the playoff situation look like with that?
I was going to say I don't think they're a playoff team. I really don't. Like, not just because of his offensive value, but also he managed a pitching staff that wasn't even whole until maybe the beginning of September. I mean, at some point in this season, Gilbert, Kirby, and Miller were on the shelf. Miller twice. And Luis Castillo was being Luis Castillo, hot for 3 games and a clunker. Yeah. And then Brian Wu, who everyone said couldn't make it through a full season, was the ace for most of the season. It was the season was very backwards when it comes to the pitching rotation, and he shouldered a lot of that. I mean, he kept the heart rate down for a lot of those guys, and put pressure on a lot of guys to step up too. Like his presence alone is one thing, and then his work ethic and how he's managed and been a leader for the entire team, it's a whole nother thing. You take him off the team, you're looking at a very different Mariners team, and I'm pretty aware of that, So I definitely think all those things, like you said, like all those things should be factors into why he should win.
Yeah, it's like the NFL where like the MVP is just a quarterback award now.
Yeah,
we're just going to give it to the biggest, baddest hitter as the MVP, as opposed to a guy who could play both sides. Anyway, the tangent or whatever we're doing, we're hopefully it comes out that Cal wins it, and we're
maybe first or second week of November, I think.
Okay, yeah. Hopefully there'll be some voter fatigue for Aaron Judge since he won it last year, right? So like, we'll see.
Yeah, because I mean, like you said, as the Hank Aaron Award winner, you were the best overall offensive player, right? But with the MVP doing what Cal Raleigh did,
mm-hmm.
I don't think you can make an argument against him.
Yeah. If he doesn't win it, I'm blaming East Coast bias, and I'm just
Yankee bias.
I'm going to go on a hot streak.
New York Yankees, yeah.
Not to bring up any more sad memories, but 1 win away from the World Series. What was going through your mind that entire game?
Believe it or not, I mean, I'm generally pretty even keel when I watch sports. This, like, I'm not joking, was probably the most like stoic version of me ever. I did not react at all the entire game. Like, my girlfriend was asking if there was something wrong with me, and I'm like, I mean, like,
you went back to data mode.
Pretty much. I mean, I was just sitting there. I was just staring at the screen the whole time, like not reacting to Julio hitting home run, not reacting to Raleigh. And then, like, when she asked what was going on, I was like, we need more than 3 runs if we want to win this game. Like, it's just, the content editor for Soto Mojo, he texted me. He's like, "Are you counting outs?" I'm like, "No, I'm making dinner." Like, that's what I'm doing. So then when they brought in Bizzardo, I literally said George Springer's going to sit on the sinker, and it only took 2 pitches, and at that point, like, obviously I look like a prophet to my girlfriend, but I'm like, I feel like if you watch,
how did you know?
Yeah, I'm like, but if you watch this enough times, you kind of, and another tangent. This is like the one thing that like really bothers me about the Mariners. Like, before, when Bizzardo was coming in, and the broadcast was going to a commercial break, you could see George Springer, going to talk to whoever the guy is with the iPad. I don't really know who those guys normally are, but I kind of got upset because I was like, you know what? Like, I don't ever see this happen in Seattle. I don't ever see anyone with an iPad giving, directions on plate approach. And that could be problem number 1. I mean, like the plate approach is not universal. The plate approach is each guy's got their own, or Kevin Seitzer or Edgar Martinez might preach, like, what the philosophy is. But I don't see anyone actually talking to Julio or Cal or giving them pointers on how to approach this pitcher that's on the mound for their plate approach. And I've seen that with with the Blue Jays this time. I see the Red Sox doing that all the time. That's basically viral at this point now. But I'm like, this guy, George Springer, is going to look at his iPad and just watch Bizzardo's sinkers for his last 3 at-bats to this commercial break, and he's going to come back and destroy us. you know, like that. I mean, so that part sucked. Even though I felt like I knew it was going to happen, it didn't hurt any less, you know. So, and then the other thing was TMI, but not really. The other thing was I'm mad at the Mariners right now anyway because I'm still waiting on my refund for wild card tickets. So I'm like, y'all about to go to the World Series? I still don't have my money back, like from the other series.
Hey,
like,
if they give you your money back, they might not have the money to spend in free agency.
Right? Exactly. So part of me was like, that's karma. Now you better give me my money.
I guess not to like add salt to the wound, but like as baseball fans, can we just appreciate the moment that was that Springer home run? Because that was electric.
Dude, I did not want another Jose Bautista to happen in my life.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, Toronto is built for stuff like that. And that crowd is raucous. And honestly, if I were probably anywhere else outside of Seattle, like I probably could acknowledge how cool it is. But the Toronto-Seattle rivalry thing is like really heating up over here. It's been heating up for the last several years now that both teams are performing well. And we're only a few hours from Canada. So Vancouver comes down here and runs their mouth. And so now it's like a lot more fierce than it used to be. And now I'm like, y'all got to have me hate another AL East team. You know, like, congrats on your win. Congrats, George Springer. Go Dodgers. You know,
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Going off the board a little bit, Ricky. This guy is a big hero, not necessarily just for the Mariners, but also the Reds when he was there as well. And my working theory, talking about Gino Suarez, my working theory was I was pulling for you guys to go all the way to World Series, win the World Series, because selfishly, that way you guys won't possibly want to re-sign him because you've already made it to the mountaintop. You're like, oh, thanks, Gino, for your service. We got you, the trade deadline. You did did your job, got us to where we need to be, the promised land, et cetera, et cetera. So that way he'd be a free agent, and then he'd be coming back home to his native Cincinnati, as I like to say, and give us the best chance of signing him. That not happening, obviously. Does Seattle go and try to push to re-sign Gino Suarez this offseason?
I don't think so. I mean, I want that to happen, but I don't think so. But you do have a point because all the fans want, all we want is one. Mm-hmm. So like,
we'll get there.
If we get one, Josh Naylor walks, Polanco walks, Suarez walks, we get the whole pipeline there. Some guy from Everett is now playing third base for the Mariners. Like, I don't think anyone cares, but
got the banner.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the priority is definitely like Naylor first. Like, they're gonna have some conversations with Gino. What I love about Gino the most is like he's just a sentimental guy. Like, every place he's been is home for him. I don't think he actually wants to go into a new locker room anywhere. Like, there might be new faces wherever he goes, but like, if we were to sit down and ask Gino where he wants to go, he'll name the Reds, the Mariners, the Tigers, or the Diamondbacks. Yeah. I don't think he wants to go anywhere else, And right now, he seems to be kind of like into not moving. So I think his preference would probably be to stay in Seattle. And I don't know, how Cincinnati embraced him there. But like, the fact that he doesn't want to go to a new place at least says enough. I do know that we embraced him really big here, and he was only here for 1 year, and we threw him a parade when he came back. Like, I think that means a lot. But I do think, like, if we're talking money, I don't know if the Mariners are going to play ball, and same thing with Polanco. I think there's going to be like a lot of questions, or a lot of decisions that the Mariners are going to have to make. Especially with like Josh Naylor increasing his value. That dude, slowest guy in the league, and he's stealing 30 bases. That guy's going to get paid. He's going to get paid. So like,
how does he do that? Like, that's anyway.
It doesn't make sense. I'm trying to do it in the show. I can't even get his speed up or his stealing rate up to 99. That's okay.
That's wild.
Cheat a little bit to get him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roger, if you want to go ahead and take the next one, you're good.
The Cali one, that's you.
Okay, yeah.
We'll skip that one. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so like I talked about earlier, I am from the West Coast, Northern California. You currently live in Seattle. Do you think West Coast baseball gets a bad rap, or we get traded? They get treated fairly with the scheduling and stuff.
Oh no, I don't. I mean, I think honestly, actually, I did I put out a little study on that this year because I can't remember if it was this year or last year. You might correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was last year where they did like change the schedule to have it more of like an even playing field. Like every team has to play every team. So I think that was last year when they did that. And ever since they made that change, it's the Mariners, Dodgers, Padres. I think those are usually the three. Maybe the A's are in there too as the most traveled teams each year. And what I thought was interesting was ever since they made that change, those four teams have really poor road records. Dodgers may have been the only team that maybe finish over 500 on the road this season, but you like putting those results together. The Mariners and all those teams lost like an average like 4 or 5 more games ever since they made that change. And I don't really think it's fair. But I don't think it's fair for the travel parts, but I do think it's fair that every team plays each other. I just think it might be insane to have, the Mariners getaway day be in Miami and then they fly back to Seattle to host the Orioles who are just in LA. Like what kind of sense does that make?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some East Coast teams had to deal with that. I think the Mets had like a pretty bizarre turnaround at some point, but at the same time, like the division they're all just kind of clustered up in there. The closest team to the Mariners right now is the Angels, maybe. I mean, the closest team to the Mariners are the Rockies, but they're not in the division. So, I mean, we're kind of tucked away up here. And I think it really showed itself. I think it showed itself on there's a really brutal series where I think they played the Mets, the Phillies, and the Marlins, and maybe the Nats. I don't remember what order it went in, but the Mariners were absolutely horrible. They were having flight issues. Oh, what's that? Oh, yeah, the Mets. Sweet. They were having flight issues all over the place. It was just an absolute mess. So, yeah, you see that cluster in there. I mean,
yeah, you can understand why Seattle probably has the most travel.
Yeah.
Well, there's that rumor out there that Portland might be a potential expansion when they potentially go to 32 teams and try to at least make it kind of like what NFL's got 32, I think.
Yeah.
Basketball's got 30, but that's anyway. But are you thinking Portland is something you wouldn't mind having as a potential division
Portland,
rival?
Salt Lake City.
Oh, yeah, Salt Lake City as well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you got to have something out west for sure. I don't really care where it is, but if I were to choose, I think Portland or Vancouver is the best. I would love for one to be in Vancouver to just
have that Canada rivalry.
Yeah. And like I'm down with like a Vancouver team and their fan base coming down here. I'm not down with Toronto fan base coming down. You know what I mean? Like, come on, you guys are basically New York. But like, but either way, like I would lean hard into Portland, and that's on a good day, that's like an hour away from here. You know how traveling can be, though. It could be a couple hours, but either way, it's like something close. The realignment thing, I think, is a really good plan. The only thing I don't like is like, are we really talking about putting the Yankees and the Mets in the same division, or the Dodgers and the Angels in the same division? Like that, to me, I think is a little too much. But I get why they would want to do it.
At least it's not like the NFL where they don't share stadiums, so that kind of makes it a little bit easier.
Right.
But like, could you imagine a world where like the Giants and the Jets were in the same division, same conference?
I mean, that's absolutely wild. I mean, it ruins a lot of things, but I also think it, like saying it ruins the potential like Subway World Series again. Like,
yeah,
I mean, we're talking about something that's kind of once in a lifetime. Does it really ruin it? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it would just be. I don't know. It'd just be for the baseball purists, the ones that have seen the divisions not changed for a long time. It'd be different, but I don't know. I think change could be good for the game, especially with just geography, just not having to travel all over, like having a situation where what was it? Houston was like in the NL Central for a long time, so it was kind of weird.
That was weird, but I hated that they came to the AL West right when they were about to pop off. I thought it was the most disrespectful thing. I was like, yo,
it's like the worst
Mariners are
time.
in second place every year right now. Like, get these guys out of here. Go back. Like,
I guess going off on a tangent, what was your opinion of the 2017 Astros?
Oh man, that was the trash can guys, right?
And the thing on his jersey, supposedly under his jersey, the keeper.
Did they lose to the Nets that year?
No, they won.
They beat the Dodgers.
Okay.
They beat the Yankees in the ALCS.
The Nats were in 2019
because Altuve walked off Chapman.
Right.
And that's what he was like,
that's
holding his jersey. And supposedly it was some ugly tattoo or something, which is just awfully suspicious.
Yeah.
And everyone says that he had no involvement, but it's hard to believe anything at this point, I don't know. I just didn't like how they kind of all got just like swept under the rug.
Yeah, I actually got more upset about their like disingenuous apologies, and then their lack of like serious repercussions. Like, okay, you guys are fired or whatever, but you can go get a job with the Red Sox or
the Tigers.
Yeah, like whatever. It's like you're okay, so you're just gonna break up the band and put them somewhere else, or like displace them somewhere else. Like that part's like a little weird, especially with like how harsh baseball is on cheating in general. You know what I mean? Like there's dudes who are long dead from gambling or doing something silly in the late 1800s and 1900s. Like careers ruined, but these guys are just like, you can still work here, just go work somewhere else. Like, I'm not saying they should like, ban AJ Hinch from the league, but like the punishment was like a little weird.
Yeah. What I didn't like about it is that it was player driven, but they didn't get punished, and the managers and the coaches did. That's what I didn't like about it.
And the front office guy, right? What was his name?
Oh,
it was strange. It was just like a weird.
They got fined like $1 million or something, and it's like,
I mean, I think I agree. Like, I feel like the NFL or NBA would. It's weird, like, because you can't. I mean, I guess you could do something like take away a draft pick, but like, what is even a draft pick in the MLB? It's kind of like a
baseball is such a weird game. You could have a 30th round pick become a starter.
Exactly,
it's weird.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I don't think it's fair. Yeah, that those guys can just show up at spring training and pretend like, nothing happened at all. Like you can get suspended for, taking the wrong medicine. I guess.
Something that your trainer gives you, and you have no knowledge of it.
Yeah, like some weird ointment. Like, I thought it was Vaseline, and these guys gone for 80 days. But like you're deliberately impacting the game, and like you're not stealing signs off a second either. You know what I mean? Like you're not stealing signs in a clean way. Or
these guys had cameras, and they had buzzers and trash cans banging and TV monitors. And you can see, I think there was the documentary of their World Series. I think there was like a video of one of the guys walking with the monitor into the clubhouse.
Oh my gosh.
This wasn't a documentary like sanctioned by the Houston Astros, right?
Yeah, it was like the Houston Astros like team documentary celebrating their championship. And like you see the guy, like you see the trash can with like dents in it and like the monitor. It's like, this is insane.
And I'm not trying to get too tinfoil hat about this, but I think possibly the rationale, like it was the Yankees or the Red Sox who also had like an iPhone.
The Red Sox had like an Apple Watch.
Apple Watch, that's it. And I'm starting to think now, in retrospect, like it feels like that those two weren't the only two teams cheating. Not saying that everybody was. I'm not saying it was 30 out of 30, but like
I'm going to add to your tinfoil hat because
it's a bit of a cover up.
When the Reds played the Dodgers, apparently every single pitcher for the Reds was tipping their pitches.
This year. Yeah, this year.
So I don't know how that's possible. I don't know how every pitcher tips their pitches, especially when they pitched all year long.
Yeah.
In a playoff game, I don't understand that either.
I don't know. That will need an investigation. Obviously, we'll look into the Dodgers documentary that they put out in a couple months or whatever.
Do you remember who? This might be super obscure, but do you remember who Chase Burns was pitching against when they said he was
Red
tipping
Sox?
his pitches? Huh.
Yeah,
we're doing a live show during the game. And we're like, there's no way. This is like his second start of his career ever after striking out, 10 Dodgers or 9
Yankees.
Dodgers? The Yankees? No, his first start, I thought, was against the Dodgers.
He faced the Yankees, and then he played the Red Sox. Then he went to the Phillies, and he pitched against the Dodgers. Like his first 4 games were against big teams.
Playoff teams, yeah, basically. So, that was just weird to witness, in this exact moment. We were watching it and recording, and it was just like, oh my.
What was weird with the Burns and the Red Sox is apparently the Red Sox are the leading team when it comes to AI and utilizing AI when it comes to that kind of stuff. So it's a little fishy there too,
Yeah. That was very odd, and it kind of stuck out as an anomaly.
Yeah, and that game rejuvenated their entire season for the Red Sox. I mean, they were a different team after that game, which is,
they figured it out.
Yeah, they got hot at the right time.
They figured out that AI stuff.
Yeah, so they broke the code.
That's crazy. That's you're welcome, Red Sox.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ricky, you got anything else for our guest?
No, that's all I got for me. I know you got your final zinger.
We usually have our closing one, and it can go a lot of ways. You can answer this many different ways, but in essence, 59 years or 49 years of existence of the Mariners? Is that right?
Yeah, I think next year is year 50.
Oh, that's a big one.
I think so. It's a big year.
But the question is
something like that. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, what is that? The silver anniversary? Anyway, but the question is, do the Mariners make the World Series in your lifetime, or do they win it in your lifetime?
Yes.
To both?
Yes.
I guess you have to make it to be able to win it.
Yes. I think I did an interview with a student at University of Washington, and I don't remember exactly what I said, but I did say that the Mariners are going to win a World Series before 2030. I did say that, so I will stand by that. But I do think, I figured it would either be this year or not that they win it. I figured either this year or next year would be like a quiet rebuild for the Mariners before they actually went after it. I didn't believe it was going to be this year or next year. I actually think they have a better shot with some of these guys in the farm when they come up, and a more mature pitching rotation if they're willing to invest in them. I actually still think the guys are still kind of young, but I do think Cal where he's at with Cal Riley where he's at as a leader, and then a Julio that's not 24 years old, a Julio that's actually got it figured out, who can hit a ball that's not straight. You got those guys leading the charge with I don't know, man. This guy Lazaro Montez looks absolutely ridiculous. If he hits his full potential, we're looking at the next Jordan Alvarez, in my opinion. And then you have some guys in the farm that are just blazing through. To the point where I think we had Colt Emerson actually make the taxi squad, and he started this season in high A. There's some serious talent that's getting ready to come up. I think those are the guys that's going to lead the charge. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be a Mariners team with like I think JP deserves a ring, but I think JP is going to be gone when the Mariners get it. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be like a pretty big roster turnover to get us there. So that's just my 2 cents. Also, like I think I'm learning a lot from the Dodgers and how like experience is really playing right now. I mean, like those are some really, older guys, but like you kind of have to make note of the guys like Freddie Freemans and the Mookie Betts and the guys that have been there, the guys whose heartbeat can, stay calm. I'm running out of words here. But
Blake Snell's up there in age too.
Yeah. So like, I think the Reds are kind of in a similar position. I think you guys are probably a little bit younger than the Mariners, but like, you guys have some really promising guys coming up through your pipeline, and not a place for all of them either. Not a place to put all of them, but like if those guys mature the right way and you have the right, I guess the right times, I do think there's a little luck to get there. You could have the right recipe with the right veterans mixed in to get there, So
yeah, I was thinking that today that the Reds kind of remind me of the Blue Jays like 2 years ago, a little bit, but we'll see.
I think we're all kind of. I hate to say it. I think we're all like both our franchises are following like our Astros recipe. Like the Astros that
Rays kind of.
Yeah, they had a huge pipeline. They all came up and got hot at the right time. And next thing you know, you have this juggernaut. Yeah, and I think a lot of teams are trying to replicate that, but I do think teams like the Reds and the Mariners and even the Tigers probably have like the best line to pull something like that off. And I don't know how the Dodgers keep having such a strong farm. Like this is ridiculous.
It helps to have all the money in the world.
Yeah. It's the worst. You got it. Sorry, last thing I want to say is someone needs to save Mike Trout and get them the hell out of LA. Like
I was probably the only person in Cincinnati that was saying trade for Mike Trout, but they have to take up 3/4 of his salary.
Yeah.
I mean, goodness gracious, any team, it would be charity, and it's worth it. Like any contender needs to get him off of that team.
Massive
right now.
Mike Trout fan.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about one of the best players to play the game, and he's stuck. He's trapped in there.
You think about that. This would be my last thing too. Is like that team had Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, and Albert Pujols, and they made the playoffs one time.
Yeah. The worst thing they ever did was get Anthony Rendon. I mean, he drove that franchise into the ground, and now they can't even sign or hire a manager without like looking at their budget.
What they do? They just signed Kurt Suzuki.
Yes, because the other guys are too expensive. They are doomed. Actually, I'm glad they're in my division.
That was my biggest fear with the Reds, with like transitioning out of David Bell, which we could go on a David Bell tangent, but to have the talent that this team has, or the potential that the team has, and then you go out and sign a Hall of Fame manager like that blew my mind. I was like, this is not a Cincinnati move. The Reds don't do this.
I was stoked that you guys brought in Francona. He's going to hold guys accountable. Like I think you saw a lot of that this year, and that like I don't think your team really. I think you guys might agree didn't really perform like up to standard, but you still like got there. You know what I mean? Like, it was a weird way to get there, but you got there.
Reds fans are divisive on him too.
Yeah.
Like, there's the analytic people that loved how David Bell ran the numbers against every team, ran the lineup based off the spread, and then you got Tito who gives it by feel and just by who's hot, who's not, stuff like that. And maybe he should learn a little bit about the newer way of the game, but I mean, you can't argue with what he's done in the past either.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're up against it, but I agree. Like, I think actually, with that same note, I think Scott Servais would have taken the Mariners to the World Series this year because he plays more off of intuition and feelings than he does off of analytics. I think and Scott Servais never had a roster like Dan Wilson had so much protection this year. They went out and got him the guys. He leaned into a lot of the coaching staff. I mean, they put Edgar in there. They got Kevin Seitzer in there who, revamped the Marlin system a couple years ago, I think. They put everything around Dan Wilson have success. And I really do think like Scott Service would not have put Bizzardo in that moment. Like, you know what I mean? And he would have learned from putting in Robbie Ray in 2022. Like, I do think he is seasoned enough to get that team across the finish line. So, I mean, I think leaning in with what's going on with Terry Francona is actually the right way to go. I agree, like, analytics are important, but sometimes experience will actually, like, take you a little bit further when the situation calls for it. That's just my 2 cents, though.
Yeah. Hopefully, he's old school guy that's got 2,000 wins, so you can't really tell him that he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, just get him an iPad. Get him someone with an iPad. That'll help.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem was we all just don't agree with Chris Valleca as the hitting coach, but that's a whole nother. That's another show.
We do like that segment about every single show we do. Well, anyway, again, Tremayne, thank you so much for joining us. I know we've hopefully haven't taken up all your time. I know you're in the West Coast, so you got a little bit of a 3-hour head start on us.
Yeah. I'm just gonna make dinner after this, but thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, this won't be the only time we talk, and maybe if my podcast's back up, I can get you guys on.
Yeah,
but
be happy to
otherwise, hit me up whenever. I'm around.
Yeah, for sure. We do a whole podcast about our favorite Seattle Reds and talk about.
We didn't go into that.
Yeah, we talk about Ricky and talk about.
Anytime you want to come on, you're always more than welcome to pop on with us. We can record something, go live. Doesn't matter either way. Shout out you also on Twitter at Tremayne Person. Shout out your Substack as well. Go check out his sci-fi stuff. I'll put all the links and stuff in the description of the video. And thank you again for coming on. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. Likewise. You guys take care, all right?
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Go Reds.
Go Reds.